Welcome back, everyone. We've got an absolutely wild tech explainer for you today. We are looking at the brand new OPPO Reno 16 series, and we're putting the standard Reno 16 head-to-head against the premium Reno 16 Pro. If you've been wondering which of these absolute powerhouses actually deserves a spot in your pocket, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the specs, compare the data, and find out where the real value actually lies. Now, before we even look at a single spec, I want you to think about this number: 100,000 rupees. That is the maximum potential price difference between these two devices. It's a massive, massive gap, and it immediately begs the question, is having that Pro label really worth such a staggering premium, or is the standard model just the ultimate steal? So to solve this value mystery, here is our roadmap. We'll look at that massive price gap, dive into the design and display, check out the processing power under the hood, and then explore the cameras, specifically the Pro's gimbal advantage. Finally, we'll hit battery and connectivity before giving you our final verdict. Let's jump right in. Section 1. The massive price gap. Is it actually worth the premium? Side by side, they both look gorgeous, right? You've got that incredibly sleek OPPO aesthetic on both. But the price tags tell a totally different story. The standard Reno 16 is sitting pretty at an expected 169,999 rupees. But if you want that Pro version, you are looking at a starting price of 232,000, and it stretches all the way up to 270,000 rupees for the top-end variant. That is a huge jump for the everyday buyer. But here's where it gets interesting. The entry point for both phones is literally identical. You're starting with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage on both devices. That just shows you the sheer value of the base model. You aren't getting shortchanged on memory just because you save some cash. The real difference is just the ceiling. The Pro offers an exclusive 512 gigabyte tier for heavy users, while the standard caps out at 256 gigs, and keep in mind there's no microSD expansion on either of them. Section 2. Design and display. Shared specs, and the exact same feel. Honestly, you'd expect the cheaper model to cut corners on the screen or the build quality, right? Nope, not here. We're talking an identical 1.5K resolution, an absolutely blinding 3600 nits of peak brightness for perfect outdoor visibility, and the same 3840 Hz PWM dimming to keep your eyes comfortable. They're both wrapped in Corning Gorilla Glass 7i, and incredibly, both have flagship-level IP68 and IP69K ratings. That means they can literally survive dust, being submerged in water, and even high-pressure water jets. The standard Reno 16 is basically giving you top-tier durability for a fraction of the cost. So what exactly are you paying extra for on the Pro's display? Well, it comes down to LTPO AMOLED technology. The Reno 16 Pro uses an advanced, dynamic screen that scales its refresh rate all the way up to a super smooth 144 Hz, and then shifts down to save your battery. The standard Reno 16 is capped at a fixed 120 Hz. It's still incredibly smooth for sure. It just doesn't have that adaptive, battery-saving magic of the Pro. Moving on to Section 3. Processing power. Let's see what's under the hood. Now, things get a bit of a puzzle here depending on where you actually live. Over in China, the Pro flexes a pretty major advantage. It's packing the Dimensity 9500's chipset clocked at 3.4 GHz, making it a total beast for demanding gamers. The standard model there gets the slightly less powerful Dimensity 8550 Super. But if we look at the global variants, those performance margins actually shrink significantly. Globally, the Pro uses a standard Dimensity 8550, and some regional standard models even get the 8550 Super. So for the average user around the world, the day-to-day performance gap is going to be surprisingly narrow. And here's the real kicker for the standard model's value. No matter the chip, the fundamental user experience is a carbon copy. Both phones use fast UFS 3.1 storage, both are running the brand new Android 16 with the ColorOS 16 skin, and, best of all, they both come with the exact same promise: 5 major OS updates and 6 years of security updates. You are absolutely not sacrificing longevity by going with the cheaper option. Section 4. Camera capabilities. Let's talk about the gimbal advantage. Prepare to be shocked, because the camera hardware here is practically identical. We're talking a massive 200-megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization on both, a 50-megapixel ultrawide, a 50-megapixel telephoto for 3.5x optical zoom, and yes, even a 50-megapixel selfie camera on both phones. Add in 4K 60 frames per second video and identical AI tools like AI Eraser 3.0, and you are getting the exact same baseline photographic horsepower whether you buy the standard or the Pro. Okay, so why buy the Pro for photos and videos? It boils down to one secret weapon, the gimbal stabilizer. This is a dedicated physical piece of hardware exclusive to the Reno 16 Pro that literally counteracts your hand movements. If you vlog, shoot a lot of action shots, or just want buttery smooth cinematic video while walking, this gimbal is a game changer. That right there is a massive chunk of what you're paying for with the Pro. Section 5, Battery and Connectivity. Time for the Pro luxury features. Moving on to battery life, both are absolute beasts, but the Pro definitely takes the crown. The China variant of the Pro packs a ridiculous 7,000 milliamp hour battery compared to 6,500 on the standard. Globally, you're looking at 6,700 for the Pro versus 6,000 for the standard, so the Pro definitely wins on capacity. But don't count the standard out. Both devices share OPPO's crazy fast 80-watt SuperVOOC wired charging, and both even support bypass charging if you're a heavy mobile gamer. Then you have the Pro's connectivity perks. We're talking 50-watt wireless charging, reverse wired charging to top off your earbuds, and ultra-modern Wi-Fi 7. The standard Reno 16 skips the wireless charging and sticks to Wi-Fi 6. Are those deal breakers? Look, for a budget-conscious buyer, probably not at all. But for power users who want a wire-free desk and future-proof networking, those are the exact luxury features that earn it the Pro title. Section 6. The final verdict. Which one should you actually pick? Let's map this out. The Reno 16 Pro is for sure the ultimate choice for true power users. If you need that buttery 144Hz LTPO screen, the absolute biggest battery, wireless charging, and that amazing gimbal for your videos, get the Pro. But if we look at the standard Reno 16, it is an undeniable value champion. You're getting the same 200-megapixel triple camera system, the same IP69K durability, and the same 6-year software lifespan, all while keeping a ton of money in your wallet. Which brings us to the ultimate question I want to leave you with today. Look at your own daily routine and ask yourself honestly, is the gimbal, the wireless charging, and the adaptive display really worth spending up to an extra 100,000 rupees? For a hardcore creator, no doubt, yes. But for almost everyone else, holding onto that cash while still getting a total powerhouse of a phone is going to be incredibly tempting. Weigh your budget, think about what you really need, and pick your winner. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.